there is a lifeline that exists in this moment where you have your dream life, where you have that amazing partner that makes you feel incredible. In this lifeline, you have the career of your dreams. You're earning the money you want to earn. You feel so good in your healthy body. That lifeline exists for you. So all we need to do is feel like we're living that life now, have the self-image of the version of us that has that life, and show up every day in our lives, in everyday moments, in the mundane, in the exciting, in every moment. Be her now.
Okay, you guys, welcome back to AG University Podcast. It is I, your host and lead dancing unicorn at Anna Grace Newell on all major platforms. And today we have my dear friend, Mimi Bouchard, who literally has the face of an angel. You guys have got to watch us on YouTube. Like every time I see you, I'm like, you're an angelic creature. This is her third time on the podcast. So obviously we love Mimi. Mimi, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, AG. I'm so excited to be here.
This is going to be a really exciting conversation. We actually just did a little future self activation right before we got on the mic. And the way that Mimi and I are both like, whoa, you feel like we had a shot of espresso. And that is the beauty. I mean, you guys probably already using activations because y'all are AGU stands. But if not, Mimi is the founder of Activations, which is an audio platform that activates your higher self. It is so powerful. I use it all the time. And also, Mimi has just become one of my really close friends. So I call her, like, her voice is my comfort. And that's why I'm obsessed with activation. So I will always plug her. I'll share more information. But just to give you guys a little bit of background on her, she is wildly successful in this space. And we're honored that we get to learn from you, Mimi. So just to start, Mimi has also been my comfort as I left the Joe Dispenza retreat. And I wanted her to share her experience going to the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation retreat because he's really popular. And I shared my full breakdown a few episodes back if you guys want to listen. But the morning that I woke up, as I was leaving the retreat, Mimi actually texted me about something else. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mimi, I'm so glad you're texting me right now because I am having like a full-blown drug experience. Yeah. By the way, I wasn't actually taking drugs. It was just a meditation type of drug state. And Mimi was so sweet. She talked to me pretty much the whole car ride home, which you guys was like a 5-hour drive. So, Mimi, I want you to share a little bit about your experience going to Joe Dispenza because I want to bring in all different perspectives and tell us like the good, the bad, the positive, the shifts, all of the things. How did that look for you?
Well, it was so funny because when we had that phone call on your drive home, I knew exactly how you were feeling. It brought back so many memories of when I went, and I went to his week-long 4 years ago. Listen, Daddy Joe, we love Joe. That's what we call him, Daddy Joe. Like, he's great. He is a huge teacher for me and has been a huge teacher for me. He really blends the world of spirituality and science together. And just like you, AG, going to his week-long was something I really wanted to do. I was so excited for it. I knew it would be intense because there were a lot of people there and you're in meditation for a huge portion of the day. But I didn't realize it would be like as intense as it was. His work from books and podcasts and stuff is pretty different. It's really just scratching the surface to the rest of the work in his retreats, which I didn't necessarily feel like I needed. Okay, this is what I'll say publicly, because I said the exact same thing to you. If you have to like heal some huge, crazy health thing, or like you need a complete 180 in some aspect of your life and you just like, you're a shell of a human and you just need to like go through a huge change, then sure, like a retreat like this could definitely be good for you. But if you're someone like AG and I who already live pretty, solid foundational lives, we do our personal development work, we just want to better ourselves and tweak little things in our lives. And maybe it's like, manifest, a healthier relationship with your spouse or be in your best body or make more money or more of these things that are like typical goals. I don't know if you need a week-long retreat at Dr. Joe because his work is intense. And for someone highly sensitive like you or I, you completely get like thrown into a different universe, and it takes you a long time to feel grounded again. And there was only one other time that I felt the same ungroundedness. And that was when I did that like plant medicine. I don't even know what it was because that's a whole other story. But basically, I did a drug that they didn't tell me what it was, like in the middle of Tennessee. They told me it was like the limitless drug. This is very off brand, but here I am. Um,
I love it.
and I was very ungrounded for weeks after, and I didn't know who I was. But long story short, it's like a difficult thing to say because I love his work, and I still think he's doing incredible things in the world. I've learned so much from him, but those retreats are freaking intense.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in a good way a lot of the time. You have to be very protective of your energy. It's like you're kind of just throwing yourself without any protection a lot of the time into like it's just a weird experience. So the moment you called me, I knew. I was like, okay, she needs to come back to earth. Let's talk. She just needs a human to speak to her and talk about normal things. I was like telling you, and I was doing my makeup, getting ready, and
Yes.
you're just like, talk to me about a normal thing. So yeah, I hear you, I feel you, and you also just want to talk to someone who's been through it. I think that was a big overwhelming feeling I felt at the time too. So I'm glad I was able to be there for you.
Yes. No, and it was good. That was actually when we were having this conversations, we talked about you coming back on the podcast because there
Yes.
was a few different times I was with my dad and I called Mimi because my dad's like, maybe Mimi can help because I was feeling like I
Yeah.
could not come
Yeah.
down and get into my body.
Yep.
I've never felt ungrounded like that. And it's just an experience that, like you said, most people have from plant medicine, like your
Mm.
mysterious drug experience, which I love. But,
Yeah.
you know, what I do appreciate
Not
about
gonna do that again either.
no,
I
no.
tried a bunch of things, realized they weren't for me. You know, you really don't need all of this stuff to like do the work and live a better life. You don't. We could talk about that too, but
Yes. Well, and that was what, you know, Mimi kind of asked, what were some of your meditations like?
yeah.
And I told Mimi, I'm like, mine were so simple, profound, but exactly the conversation. And honestly, probably why you and I are such good friends because we're very driven. I imagine anyone that's listening to this podcast right now is a
Yeah.
very driven creature or someone that's meant to live a big life, right? Like that knows. And so Mimi and I both share this like excitement. Like I get so excited. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to go to a week-long meditation retreat. And like I want
Yeah.
to try all the things and do all the things. And we are not here to stop you. You guys, you know, do whatever you want to do. But what we circled back to was that some of these very simple practices that both Mimi and I have cultivated are so powerful, so efficient, and you don't need to throw yourself off into the deep end where you're in these like really extreme environments. Like we're saying this as people who have done these things, and I'm
Yeah.
coming back to say, you know what? Some of these simple activations, your audio activations, or how I share some of my somatic
Yeah.
movements, just as powerful, just as beautiful. And that was like the biggest part of my meditations was like, Inna Grace, you're here to live a really pleasure-filled life, and the only person that restricts you is you, and,
Mhm.
like, you don't really need to do all these crazy things, like, just live your life, girl, enjoy,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Wow." I went to, like, the
Yeah.
hardest meditation retreat that I could have possibly experienced for the message to be like, "Girl, just go out and, like, live your life, just relax." I was like, "Okay. Alright." Like, I didn't need so much inner work, and I think people think they need
Mm.
so to figure out everything and
Yeah.
dig deep when really we're coming back to what Mimi and I are going to talk about today. You just switch your lifeline, you know, you
Mhm.
just switch your reality. And every time Mimi and I get together, we love to talk about, will you tell them about your favorite book?
Oh my gosh, you mean my version of the Bible?
Yes, your Bible.
My Bible is Reality Transurfing. It is a big book. It is hard to read. It was translated from Russian to English. It is crazy. But it also says the same thing that all these other modalities say, but in a different way, one that really just stuck with me. So I read this book years ago and I've been recently coming back to it more and more. It's funny because some of the concepts are really aligned with Dr. Joe's work, you know, like the heart and mind coherence type of thing. A lot of the stuff he says, because this guy, Vadim Zeland, who wrote this book, he's this Russian quantum physicist that you like cannot find online. And that's kind of why I love this book too. He's
Mhm.
like disappeared from, you know, planet Earth. He wrote this book and like disappeared, which I think is pretty gangster. I think I trust that more than someone who like has like $1,000 course and a this and a that and a program. You know, coming from us, we have digital businesses, fine, but
Yes.
you know, like this guy, I didn't write the Bible. You know, like he is like, here is the philosophy of the world and how things work. Okay. So I've loved his work for a while. I feel like it describes all these other modalities that I've kind of, been learning about over the past decade of my personal development journey and experience. And I just feel like it really resonates. And I truly feel that is the truth of how things work. So Vadim Zeland, he is that random, Russian quantum physicist we can't find anywhere. But what his work teaches is, well, essentially in very simple terms, there are infinite realities that we could tune into at any given moment. Reality that we're seeing in front of us is essentially a mirror. So the mirror reflects back who we are being, our frequency. It's not what we're thinking, it's who we're being. You do not manifest what you desire, you manifest who you are. And that really just simplifies this work of becoming who you want to be, creating the life that you want to live. And it is just a radio signal, a frequency. If you turn the radio to 99.5 or whatever, 99.9, I don't remember that, it's FM one from Canada. But then you're going to get that radio station. If you turn it to another, station, you're going to get that. If you dial your own frequency into the station of your future self, that is what you're going to experience. There's a little bit of a lag with this mirror. You have to be that version of you for a certain period of time, and then you're going to start seeing a lot of those alignments come into your reality, but you need to have faith during that lag period. You do this work, what Vadim says, quote in his book, it executes flawlessly. When you just do the work, it executes flawlessly. This is how the world works. When you think about it, science shows that like particles attract like particles. And what are particles made out of? Energy. We're all made out of energy. Everything is energy, right? So what if our bodies, our energy, our frequency, which is made up of how we feel, our thoughts, our beliefs, our self-image, what if that is actually attracting and magnetizing more experiences and situations and people that align with that energy around and inside of us? So that's actually apparently how the world works, according to Vadim Zeland and a lot of the other teachers of this work like Joe Dispenza and all the greats. And that's essentially what I've seen happen in my life. So I'm a big believer. That's really the core basis of what we do at activations. Really, activations is a lot more simplified as well. It's a lot about self-image psychology and just reprogramming your mind. But what I've said on a few podcasts, AG, I believe paints a good picture of this work is that it's actually the same. Everyone says it is the truth in different languages. A Christian will call it prayer, right? A spiritualist will call it manifestation or the law of attraction. An atheist will call it the placebo effect. A scientist will call it quantum physics. A psychologist will say it's self-image psychology or the RAS, right? So everyone's saying it's the same thing, that if you are the type of person that ... you're going to create that. Or if you, really believe that what you want is going to happen and to the core of your being, it will. I believe in, I study heavily the self-image psychology piece. I believe in, modern spirituality, a lot of the more action-oriented manifestation work. And yeah, so I'm a huge believer. I've seen it happen in my own life so many times. I know so do you, AG.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just love, there's so much more to it. Essentially, he talks about lifelines and how in these different, like there are unlimited lifelines that you can select. So think about it this way. There is a lifeline that exists in this moment where you have your dream life, where you have that amazing partner that makes you feel incredible, that is so romantic, that gives you those movie moments every day. In this lifeline, you have the career of your dreams. You're earning the money you want to earn. You feel so good in your healthy body. You have a beautiful relationships and friendships. You wake up every morning feeling so good about yourself, loving life. That lifeline exists for you. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It literally exists for all of us. So all we need to do is feel like we're living that life now, have the self-image of the version of us that has that life, and show up every day in our lives, in everyday moments, in the mundane, in the exciting, in every moment. Be her now. And there's so much to unpack there, but that's really how it all works.
Yeah, it's also like I always say, anytime you have a big desire, which Mimi and I are going to talk about things that make your heart sing, really into the
Yeah.
heart-centered
Yeah.
space. If there is something that makes your heart sing, that when you're driving down the highway listening to music and you're having these daydreams about yourself doing something, it exists. I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people, I don't have visions about me playing the violin, right? Because that's not that. I mean, it could exist, but that's not like my heart's desire, you know? It's like if you're driving down the highway and you see yourself like, it kind of plays out like a music video. Do you ever do that
Mhm.
maybe when you're driving? You're like and
Oh.
visualizing all this stuff happening?
Girl, the master at romanticizing life and having, like, literally just being that main character. That's what I love. Like, that's what we should all be feeling every day because we
Yeah.
are the main character. We are able to live, like, in a way that just makes us feel good every day. Why are we all, like, subconsciously deciding to just be, like, in a bad mood all day long? I feel like all of society is just always kind of in a bad mood, and it takes a lot to get into a good mood. We need to create this baseline of just being happy and in a good mood, even if we haven't reached our desires yet.
Yeah. I feel like I had a situation just the other day where I cleared some type of limiting belief or a thought around having just a lot more money, like really taking things to
Yeah.
the next level. The light bulb was like, everybody has the same ability to make this amount of money. Like, no one really, it doesn't make you better than anyone. Everyone has, it's a level playing field.
Mhm.
Everybody can manifest anything and everything. Like, if you really zoom out into the quantum, because I think sometimes I would feel bad, like, oh, there's people in need and this and that. It's like, if you zoom out, you can really manifest anything. It's a level, like manifestation applies to every single human being, right? It's just whatever our thoughts and beliefs are. And I want Mimi to touch on, because I think this is really interesting, because I think intuitively our audience could kind of be here as well, which is when you're really excited about something and maybe you're gripping a little tight.
'Kay.
Mimi just like got her fingers popped. She's like, let's go.
This is something I have to remind myself of a lot because I get very excited to reach goals. After I explain this, though, I want to go back to your financial revelation because I'm curious to know how it feels now versus how it felt before because it's all about feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Visualizing with the body. But I'll quickly explain. Vadim Zelen states in reality transurfing that when you put excess potential onto a certain goal, you actually create resistance to getting there. Like, let's just be completely honest with ourselves. We've never gotten something that we've wanted so badly and put on this pedestal in such like a way where we feel so separated from it until it happens, or we have this I'll be happy when mentality with this thing, this goal that we've put on this pedestal that we feel so far away from. There's a separation. We never actually get those things. If you look back in your life, anyone listening, actually try to find an example where you wanted something so badly and you didn't really like deep down believe that it was already yours and it just wouldn't happen. For example, when you are obsessed with a potential like partner, like when you've gotten really into a guy and he starts to ghost you. Like, I know it's a bit tricky with dating because you need to show some sort of interest. But that's the same with any goal in your life. You need to have interest and intention and feel like it's natural for that thing to happen. This is talking about career, business, opportunities, anything. You need to still have like a, interest in it and be aligned with it energetically. But when you start placing excess potential between you and this goal that you have and you start really putting it on this pedestal, there's no way that it's actually going to come into existence. So I experienced something about a month ago that I was sharing with AG on our phone call where I was like, wait a minute, I've been putting too much excess potential on this one thing I wanted to happen. And all these things were not working out in my favor. And I thought, what is going on? I need to start practicing what I preach. And I had to remember that. And then ever since I've been remembering that, things have started to fall into place. But tell me a bit about your experience with this, and I also wanna know, I guess this ties in to financial goals.
Yeah, well, I think I was just driving. It's one of those things that made a lot of like, it clicked in my brain. I'll try to articulate it. You can ask me questions if it doesn't, but I had this moment where I thought I'm launching a new leg of my business. Mimi,
Yeah.
I've told you, and I've kind of hinted on the podcast, and I'm just like really up leveling, like I'm hiring people, like I am making freaking power moves. And I just want to tell anyone that's listening, it's uncomfortable. It's one of those things where
Yeah.
you're taking a leap of faith. I have no idea. I told Austin, I said, baby, I'm blowing sand into the wind right now. I have
Mhm.
no idea how this is gonna turn out. I have no idea what it's gonna look like, but I know I'm in the right spot. Like
Yeah.
the data right now we have is just like I'm living on a prayer, you know? So and I was driving and I was just thinking, I was like, I've always been a naturally abundant person in the sense of I have a very rich life, like an
Mm.
experience and
Yeah.
joy and the way that I feel, like more so than just money. I feel like I'm an abundant creature and like I've had a really full life. I always think like if I died tomorrow, I'd be like, damn, I had a great life. I really feel that because I really wake up every day and I choose to make every moment happy or joyful and like when I
Me
wind down
too.
in the evening, like I light candles, like I make everything beautiful and magical. Everything's magical in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, if I left tomorrow, I'd be great, whatever. But now I'm in this next phase where I'm like, okay, I want to create jobs for these people. Like I really want some big stuff happening. And it's a next step of wealth that I've never experienced. And I think there was a limiting belief that's like, I thought I was more special than other people, and I didn't like that. I don't wanna think that I'm, like, better than other people or do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Wait, no, I don't understand. You were trying to get rid of that belief that, like, you can do it, but other people can't?
Um, I think it was like, what? Who do you think you like, why do you think you can do
Why do
that?
you think you're so special? I
Yes.
see.
You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Interesting.
It
Okay.
was kinda like, why could you do that, but not other
Right.
people
Right, right,
manifest
right. Yeah.
these millions of dollars or whatever? It's like
Yeah.
and I had that light bulb where it's like, wait, we're all actually
How did I do it? God, if you're going that route, it shouldn't have happened to me. Seriously.
I don't know if maybe that's kind of like an imposter syndrome
Everyone
feeling.
has it. Yeah, no, that's so normal to feel that way is like, wait a minute, why do I think that I'm so good that I could create that? But
Yes.
the reality is that there have been so many people that have added way less value to people's lives that have become way more, wealthy and millionaires. So it's yes, it is 100% possible for you, but that belief, it's very important that you crushed it. So I'm glad you did.
Yeah, it's something I uncovered. Thank you. You kinda helped me. I was like, it was sort of hard for me to like I had this moment where I was like, wait, we all have like all of the
Yeah.
laws of the universe all apply to us equally. We all have the ability to manifest whatever. And it's like you said, taking it off a pedestal, not giving it this excess potential.
Yeah.
Because so kind of in the excess potential range, you're saying if you give something so much energy, how does it like throw off the balance? Can you kind of explain that to the audience a little?
Yeah. So, first of all, being hyper specific on exactly that thing you want. A lot of people that teach manifestation say that you need to be so hyper specific on the exact number in your bank account, the exact house you want. I actually don't really believe in that. What I believe is that you basically create the life that is aligned with the frequency that you exude. So, if your future self frequency, which is what I call it, in your body that you are focusing on embodying and giving out into the world, the universe, like the feeling you have inside and around you in this little bubble of you, you're going to attract experiences, people, things that align with that feeling. So, for example, for me, when it comes to wealth and abundance, like I am creating in my future self frequency, as well with you, a different level than what I've experienced lately, and which is very uncomfortable because there's always more that you can get into. But the feeling that I have is just so much abundance that I feel untouchable. And we spoke about this on our call too, like this feeling of like having a moat around me of so much wealth and abundance that nothing bad can happen. Like no bill can come that stresses us out. No family member can get sick where we can't get the best doctor in the world. I feel like this untouchable feeling, like no stock market crash could get us worrying 'cause we still have way more than we need. Like that untouchableness is what
Mhm.
I'm creating in my future self frequency. So for me, there are a lot of possibilities that could give me that feeling. The exact what and how and when is actually not up to me. All I know is that I want this feeling of so much abundance that I feel untouchable. So it might be, something might happen or some in my business something might boom or there might be a completely separate opportunity that isn't even my business that could bring this feeling, closer and closer to me, that experience into my life, but it's not the actual how and the when that is up to me. You have to leave room for the universe to surprise you.
Mhm.
You can't control exactly how it happens because oftentimes there's actually better for you out there. There have been so many situations in my life where I thought this one thing was going to bring me that feeling I wanted, but no, I actually got brought into a different direction and it was so much bigger and so much better than I could have ever imagined. So, yeah, bringing it to the reality transurfing, not creating excess potential for that thing. I think not being so dead set on a certain number or a certain how or a certain person actually helps you reduce that excess potential. The situation I mentioned earlier, I was dead set on a certain number for something, okay, in a certain timeline. And I realized, wait a minute, that's actually caused excess potential because I could seek and have this feeling in other ways. I cannot control the how and the when. What I can control is the feeling that I'm producing and exuding from my body. And I know it's just a matter of time if I hold on to that frequency. It's a matter of time until what there is something that comes in that is aligned with that. Right. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little complicated.
Yeah. It gets a little quantum, but I like the quantum and I'm tracking with you because I guess really excess potential. I'm trying to like define it. It's when you're focusing so much of like your energy on this
It's
item.
separation. It's separation. Excess
Separation.
potential is separation.
Yes.
How could
Perfect.
you be aligned energetically with
Hmm.
what you desire if you feel deep in your core that you just don't have it?
Have
That
it.
you're going to be happy when
Yes.
you have it, but you're not happy now. You're
Yeah.
going to feel abundant and unlimited when you have it, but you don't feel that way now. That literally creates this, you can't get it if you're in that energy. Like, for example, my business over the past 5 years, it's, as you know, changed my life completely. It's been like, what? I remember back to when I was starting it and every level of growth that we've had. I've just expected it. I haven't been too weird and needy about it. I've been like, all right, this is just what's happening. I haven't been like micromanaging it. Like, really, like, I have just been feeling like it's the natural escalation, the natural next step of my career, of my life, and earning this kind of money is just natural for me. Right. So that, and then I look back to other entrepreneurial ventures that I had in my early 20s, and they were so close to working and something unexpected, would occur that would just take it away from under me. And like, bad things kept happening, but it's because I didn't have this like expectant energy around
Mm,
it. So what we all need to remember, and listen, I have to remind myself of this every single day because it's easy to just unconsciously not feel this way. It's easy. You need to remind yourself daily through whatever practices get you back into that state. You need to remind yourself to be her now. Be your future self now. Be that version of you in this moment that has the life you want. Even as I'm speaking, I'm reminding myself, it's like, like get out of that grumpy attitude or the matter to matter thinking of, oh, it still hasn't happened. Just feel like it's already there. Feel it, think it, be her now. What would she do in this moment? How would she feel knowing that everything that she wants is already in orbit? It's already in her field. It's already on the way. You know what I mean? And that romanticizing the feeling of like experiencing getting there. I think you're also probably aligned with wanting to hear this right now because I had to remind myself of this morning. Like, AG, if I gave you two options right now, the first option is me telling you you're definitely going to get to the net worth or the income or the revenue that you're looking for, but you're going to, go through the journey of getting there and the excitement and the awe and the wonder. And it might take a year or two or whatever time, but you're going to get there no matter what. I can promise you that. But you're also going to be able to experience the excitement of it happening. Would you rather that? That's like situation A. Or would you rather situation B where I just plop, $20 million into your bank account and I'm like, here, which one would you want? Because
you you want
genuinely, I would way prefer to know it's happening, but to go through the excitement and the steps and the like, oh my gosh, it's coming in tomorrow,
that
or that person just did that, and I just hired this amazing new person. Like, isn't it boring to just get to the end result? Like,
yes.
so that is something that really I had to remind myself of. It's like, oh, like what a cool experience that I get to do this and I get to go through the steps knowing that this is the most exciting time of my life,
Yes.
instead of just getting to the end result and just sitting around with money. It's like the journey is the most exciting part.
Absolutely. And like you said, Mimi, I think as much as we teach this work, we're in this work, we all need to hear this message because we're all human beings. We're always striving and we want to achieve things and we're like, why is our manifestation taking so long? But also the more that we think that, like you said, that's just excess potential, that's separation. Whereas we're like, I already know that what I'm creating is going to be successful. And I'm saying that about what I'm making right now. Like I know it. No one's tested the product. I have no information. But I'm like, I already know it's going to be great. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing. I already know. And the part of figuring it out and refining my formula and the process, the way I teach it, like, it's also for me and for the listeners
Yeah.
listening. That's for you too. It's like
Yeah.
you learn, grow, and evolve through that process. It's kind of the magic. It's like Mimi. She made these activations, these voice memos, hyping herself up when she was working as a dog walker and all of these jobs, and She made those voice memos hyping herself up because she needed it. So as much as we wanna get to the end result, like, we need the journey, and then we take other people. We're like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna drive the little train, and y'all can hop on the train because 'cause we've already paved the way."
You need to lean into what makes your heart sing. Like you said earlier, I love how you
Yes.
remembered that we talked about those words, what makes your heart sing on our last phone call. And like, that's what it's Vidium Zellen's words, like lean in to what makes your heart sing. Like that feeling that like, oh, I love doing this. So as you mentioned as an example back like 9 years ago, I started creating my own activations for myself because I wasn't really resonating with sitting with my eyes closed type of audio like meditation. I wanted something more like pump up. Like of course, meditation's awesome. It can really help you reprogram certain things, but it's one of those things you need to carve out time from your day to do. I wanted something I could listen to while I was like, walking to work or like cooking dinner, just something that had more like upbeat, inspirational, cinematic music and more of a different guidance, like no silent sitting and no
Uh-huh.
nervous system calming down. It was more about becoming and transforming, less about calming and grounding. So, anyways, I just had this like intuitive pull. My heart instructed me at this time. You know what? Why don't you create another option here? You can't find what you're looking for, so create it. And then I started creating these for myself and layering in this music I'd find online and putting it in GarageBand. I did this kind of homemade activation. And then my growth started. Obviously, you guys have probably heard my story since I've been on the podcast twice. Then my growth started to really, snowball and started making a lot more money. I met my now husband like very quickly after I started listening to activations. I started having these light bulb moment ideas and I started genuinely just becoming my future self and being her and cool experiences coming my way. Like it just really expedited my entire success journey. So I created that for myself. And then I had a bit of an intuitive light bulb moment, 5 years ago. And I was thinking, okay, what if I created versions of these for the public and then kind of made it an app. And then that obviously I went into it with just this intuition, this thing that made my heart sing, this idea that I wasn't putting too much pressure on, but then I would also know deep down, like deep down that it would be a success. I was kind of like setting things up in the background before even launching. I was like, wait a minute, I should probably set up the banking this way because it's going to be a huge company. Like you just set things up with that, but in a cool, calm, collected type of like it's already mine energy. And long story short, you guys know how,
Mimi's business popped off.
it popped off. It shouldn't have happened. Like it shouldn't have happened to me. Like all I did consistently was this work. We've barely paid for marketing. We have tens and tens of thousands of subscribers. I've never raised money. It's like we have insane, months regularly, 3, 4, 500K a month, like crazy. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
But what I did consistently was this work.
Yeah.
And it's
Following your
not only
heart.
changed my life, it's changed our tens of thousands of subscribers' lives as well. I think we have over 100,000 people that have like had success stories at this point. So it's
Wow.
just works. And yes, listen, activations, I'm like the biggest believer in, but if you're listening and that doesn't resonate with you, you can also do other activities and things that make you feel like your future self that help you be her now in everyday moments. Okay. You can journal every morning. And if you're more of like a writing type of creator, like I like to journal sometimes too when I need to clear my mind. But if you're the kind of journaler that wants to remind herself every morning, okay, here's what my future self does today. Here's how she feels. Here's how she acts. If it's maybe a music playlist as well that makes you feel like her, you could play that because it's very important to be her now in everyday moments. You need to train yourself to be your future self while you're cooking dinner, while you're doing your makeup, while you're, even scrolling on your phone, even though that doesn't make you feel like your future self. You need to learn how to be her in these daily moments.
Yes. And I actually just thought of this because I think Mimi and I have a similar feeling and experience. It could be different for others. So I just want to throw this out there. But whenever I put on music, I have like really some like hype It's almost like kind of rave music, which I'm not really a raver, but it's like a remix, so it's like high
Yeah.
energy music, and I'll jump up and down and I pretend like I'm leading a group of women. Like I
Yeah.
pretend like they're with me even though I'm in my room alone. Okay. Spoiler alert, I'm in my studio. But I feel it so viscerally in my body. I start to cry and I either get chills or I'll start to cry. And they're happy tears, by the way. Like I just get so, I feel so in my future self. Again, have no live events planned. I don't know. They're going to happen. But because when I hit that moment of hearing, high energy music, and I'm usually jumping up and down because like that's my thing is movement. But I know Mimi, I wanted to like share these experiences of when like this is how you know you've hit that higher self chord is because you have some type of a visceral reaction. I feel like you always say you get like full body chills or like
Mm.
how does it show up
Yeah.
for you when you know you're in the quantum?
Okay. The goosebump thing, that's just like my body, but I'm very intuitive with my body. I've never like seen things or heard things. Like, some people have their different, you are better at explaining this, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you guys know what I mean. I'm a feeler. I have a very, very strong feel intuition. So, especially when I do our walking activations, like movement really does bring that towards you. Like, yes, of course, if you're sitting with your eyes closed, you can feel that feeling for sure. But there is something that happens when you move your body and you listen to something that gives you that sparkly feeling that really triggers it. So, you with your dancing and that music, I feel it too. Listen, when I do my class workouts, I am literally like, goosebumps crying too. But for me, the walking activations does it like every single time when there's a certain song, the cinematic music with the right type of, visualization and encouragement. Like it's just this beautiful mix that just like makes me cry. It makes me emotional. It makes my goosebumps come out. And then I also feel this like sparkly feeling in my upper back, like especially when I'm
Mm.
walking. It's like
Mhm.
I feel, and I'm feeling it right now, even talking about it, kind of weird.
I have it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it's just something, and I feel at the back of my neck, and I'm kind of feeling it now too. It's just energy that is telling you you are in the right place, you are going the right direction. What you want is already yours. And it's just that little like yes from your intuition, the universe, things you cannot see, energy. And what's interesting as well, actually, that I kind of want to talk about. I've been starting to learn more about perception of time. And this is something as well that Vadim Zeland talks about, and a lot of quantum physicists discuss. It's something quite interesting that time doesn't actually exist. Like physics will actually show signs that the past and the future are also happening in the present moment in different fields or different planes or whatever. So it's really interesting to think about would that mean if I know this is so complex and it's hard to even quantify, but what would that even mean if that was the case? Like, can you change your future by something you're doing in this moment? Can you communicate? I actually have this weird belief where it's like, I actually think that I want what I want. And I had this vision for my life when I was a young girl, because my future self already existed and she was kind of like knocking at me from behind the glass, being like, this is where you want to go. You want what you want for a reason, not just me. Everyone, listen, you want what you want for a reason. You get these whispers, you're these soul whispers telling you, oh, what if I could start that bakery? What if I could, have this amazing partner? What if I could do this or experience this in my life? And that's not random. Your desires are not random. Your desires exist for a reason. And what if that reason was because your future self was knocking on the door telling you, hey, this is actually meant for us?
100%. I think I've told this on the podcast before. I've probably told you, Mimi, but like when I was 8, I told my dad that. Like I was like, can't believe I'm 8 years old again. Like this is crazy. But Dad's like, what do you mean? Like I'm just like,
That's crazy.
I'm 8. Well, okay. I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah. Yeah, but I literally was like, you don't understand. Like, I am meant to be on stage in front of people. And my dad's like, well, what are you like? 'Cause my dad's like, what are you singing? You dancing? I'm like, no, but I was literally like, I'm going to help them. And then I'm going to take care of you, Dad. I'm going to take care of this family. I
Oh,
know.
goosebumps.
I know. I was in like second grade.
Oh,
And I don't really remember it, but my dad really like remembers it because he's like, it really like struck me. It was very like, wow,
crazy.
you're like a little girl. I'm like, don't worry, Dad, I'm gonna take care of you when you get old. He was like, which
He's like, perfect.
My dad is literally an angel gem. But yes, to what you're saying, like for anybody who has had a thought or a belief that feels crazy, I will say I had a development meeting the other day and they're like, what is your like your goals for this? And I just came out hot. I'm like, 3 months, 6 month, 1 year, projection. And they were kind of like, okay, well, we do want you everyone to have a realistic expectation. I'm like, you just like don't understand. Like I don't know how any of this is going to play out, but like I know that like through this past meditation experience and some of these past few months, like this is happening. And
Well, you
there's
need it.
yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
happening. And so I
we
just
need it.
yeah,
Everyone needs it.
everyone needs it.
It's a need that has not been filled elsewhere.
Absolutely. And as much as I think the world needs it, because that's my like contribution to the world. Like I'm not a political girly. I don't know anything that's like a news or a this or a that. Like I want to contribute something to the world. If I could help people
Mm,
regulate their nervous systems and
mm,
be less reactive and more connected to their intuition and their power, I think I have a lot of hope for humanity. I really do. And I
yeah.
know that Mimi's activations are the same. It's all of us wanting to be our best version of self. Think if the whole world would step into that idea of like, who would I be if I acted as my best self today? We really would be
Mhm.
living in a way better place.
Totally. No, it's so needed and coming into your body and really I'm so excited for you to launch it because I can't wait to use it in combination with everything else I do. It's really a missing piece. It's like that emotional release
Mhm.
and coming into yourself to have room for all of the other manifestations to come in. I think these actually work in perfect cohesion with
Yes.
activations. You know, what you're doing is you're clearing out and you're opening up space for new. What activations do is they bring in the new energy. So both of those together, we should do collabs. Like we should have activations on in the background with you doing the movements.
Yes. No, I was literally thinking Mimi and I were on the phone like a week or two ago, and I was like, Mimi, the dream event would be like me doing
Yeah.
the movement and Mimi's little
Yes.
angel voice talking you guys through it. Like that would be so cool. Cause like what I'm doing is like I said, I'm creating these combinations in the body that release, and then Mimi's bringing
Let's
in
do
the
it.
new future
I'm so
self.
down. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do it tomorrow. I
Let's
want to,
go.
let's go.
Yeah, because also Mimi and I are both like power of 8 girlies. When you gather people, magic really
Yeah.
does happen. We could totally do an activations times age university event
I
because
love it.
yeah, that would just be so epic. Also, Mimi, I do want you to share your would you share your secret sauce that you shared on the retreat with us? Do you remember how you
I
told
have a
us
lot
how
of secret sauces.
she
Which
does
one are
have
you
secret
talking
sauce?
about?
I just thought it was really cool, and this will be an exclusive for you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're doing an activation and you're starting to connect with your body, you taught me how you layer in
Oh,
emotion,
yeah.
like almost like you're baking a cake, like frequency by
Yeah.
frequency.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good insider tip for anyone who's tuned into this conversation because it really gave me I guess, kind of a formula to connect
Yeah.
with my future self. Because some people might be like, how do I connect with
Yeah.
my future self? What does she feel
Totally.
like?
Yeah.
So Mimi, give us it's your little magic trick.
Well, first of all, it's so true. Like, I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast is like, oh, this all sounds great, but like, how do I actually freaking do it? Because this work can be complicated sometimes. So we are really in the business of simplifying things. And I can tell you how to design your own future self frequency. It is something that you want to spend a bit of focus on. The rest of the activations you can just kind of have playing on in the background of your life. You don't need to focus a lot. It's not trying to like use a lot of mental effort. But with this one specific practice, you just really need to do it once to really understand it. I can talk you through it. I will also say that I talk about it in depth in my book. By the way, I don't think I've been on since I released a book earlier this year.
Yes.
And it's also under $10 on Amazon right now. So if anyone wants to pick it up, it's called Activate Your Future Self. And it was released in April with Hay House, and that was its whole own manifestation in itself. There's also the audiobook that I read out, which is really fun. But the book talks about this, and we also have a collection of activations on the app that helps you tune into your own future self frequency. And it actually instructs you how to layer it in more of this activation state. But I can tell you exactly how to do it at home with nothing right now. So basically, this is how you create your future self frequency, the frequency that you want to project into the world. So you want to choose 3 to 5 different emotions. So first, let's just like have a bit of a high level think. about who your future self is, how she feels in her body, how she feels in her environment, how much abundance she has, what her love life feels like, how she feels about herself, how she feels about her career, how she feels about every experience in her life, right? It's a feeling, an underlying frequency. So let's use 3 to 5 different emotions, and you can journal on this before we begin, but I'll just use quite generic ones. So, let's say love is an overwhelming emotion, love for yourself, love for the people in your life, love for the world, love. Okay, we all know how love feels in our bodies, right? It's a very heart expanding emotion. You feel it all warm in your chest. We all experience emotions in a slightly different way, but I think we can all agree that love really comes from this like chest, heart centered place where you just feel so much love. So feel it in your body right now while we're chatting. You know, you can, whatever you're doing, listening to this podcast while you're driving to work, while you are on a walk, while you're cooking dinner, whatever you're doing, feel love in your heart, in your chest. It's not hard. It's very easy, actually. You're just tuning into a certain emotion. All right, let's layer in the next frequency, the next feeling, the next emotion, but hold on to that feeling of love inside of you. Okay, while we're talking about this next emotion. Use it as a baseline, this feeling of love, and then let's bring health as the next layer, okay? How it feels in your body to be healthy, to be radiant, to be, so full of life, energized. You feel so strong, you feel so clear, okay? That feeling of health in your body, and mix it in with that feeling of love, right? You have this layer of love, and then you're mixing in this feeling of health. How does health feel in your body? It's a bit of alertness, perhaps, if energy comes to mind. It is the feeling of strength, the feeling of, being strong in your body. Okay. So you're feeling love and health at the same time right now. Hold on to that new emotion, which is those two feelings mixed in together. Like you're mixing it all together, but hold on to those two. Okay. And then let's layer in the next feeling. Let's say it's abundance or wealth, whatever word you want to use. Okay, holding on to love and health, bring in wealth, bring in abundance. How does it feel to be in love with life, in love with yourself? So much love, so healthy, so energized, so, you know, just clear in your mind and your body, and then bring in the layer of wealth and abundance. How does it feel then on top of those two love and health emotions, to bring in abundance, to feel the feeling of abundance in your body? How does abundance feel? It feels unlimited. Maybe you feel it expanding around your shoulders. Maybe you feel it from the top of your head. Maybe you feel this flutter of excitement in your heart. And you're mixing those three emotions all together: love, health, abundance. And then let's bring in a fourth just for fun: awe. I love awe. The awe and the wonder for the world. So you're mixing that in. Maybe you feel a little bit of goosebumps. Maybe you feel just that like surprise feeling, that pleasant surprise feeling you get when something good happens. That pleasant surprise, that awe for the world, for being alive. You start to see awe everywhere when you feel awe. You see how green the leaves are. You see how beautiful the water is. You see how, bright that mango is that you just cut into. Like, you start to see it everywhere. So what's that feeling in your body of awe? It just brings this kind of higher frequency, right? So you have four emotions that you're holding on to. You've mixed all of them in at the same time. You've got love, health, abundance, and awe. Those are just four that I like. And then at the end, you've maintained the potency of all four of those emotions in your body. And if that feels intuitively like that's your future self frequency that you're living in, how it feels to live the life you want to live, then you're there. But if you want to add in more, you can. If you want to do totally different emotions or feelings, you can. But that's really how you do it. And it's just playing with energy. It's not hard. You have to stop telling yourself, oh, this is complicated and hard. This is so simple. And then what you need to do is you need to memorize that frequency. Okay. Get very familiar with it, and then tune into it in everyday moments with your eyes open, because then you condition yourself, like classical conditioning, Pavlov's dog theory. You condition yourself to pair everyday actions with this new frequency. And that's what activations does. So that's essentially, 101 on future
Yeah.
self frequency.
I love it. The first time we did that was I think it was at the Arizona retreat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just kind of felt like I was like baking a cake. Like I had a layer
Yeah.
and I added another layer and then another layer. And I was like, that's a fun way of thinking of it, instead of just being like future self, yeah. It's like, no, like, how does she feel? And I feel the difference when you say love, like it feels warm, and then health feels like energizing. Like it's just like a little micro shift that I can feel when you tune into a certain emotion. And I always tell people like every single human being has the ability to channel emotion. Whether that's like a lot of the like channeling I teach people is like, let's channel the emotion of safety,
Yeah.
to feel safe carrying all of this stuff. Like whatever emotions jump out, everybody has the ability to like call on those emotions, which is so cool. And like you said, it's very easy. You just sometimes you can just talk it out loud or say like, higher self, show me how does it feel? If some of these things Mimi and I are talking about right now feel new, like ask for help. Be like, higher self, Miss Ma'am, how does this emotion feel in my body? Like, can you show me? Can you,
Mm.
and I'll say, can you turn it up? Can you turn the
Yes.
volume up?
Yes.
Can I feel it a little bit more? Because we're all in control of this and it's going to present itself in a way that feels really good to us.
Mm.
It's never scary or overwhelming. It's like very magical. And like I said, I always like give it a dial. I'm like, ooh, I want to turn that one up a little. I want to feel that one a little bit more. Or like, stay with this. And then we kind of make our own unique soup. And then we're all freaking rock stars. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. The hard part is sticking to it, right? We can do
Yeah.
all the prep work, we can do the big thing, but the real growth comes from just showing up every day and being consistent with it. And whatever tools help you do that, whatever tool you have that helps you be her now in everyday moments, that is what you need to commit to. Because what I've come to realize, as much resistance as I had towards this, it is the truth that growth happens in the small moments. You can't just
Mm.
put it on your calendar for this one big day where you're finally going to do the thing and become that person. No, it starts today. It starts in those tiny moments. And it's not going to be this one day that like revolutionizes your life and you finally become her. No, it happens in those tiny little moments being so consistent. And we need to remember that because a lot of us keep putting off changing. It's
Mm.
because we think that one day we'll have the energy or the time to do it. But the reality is, the more time that we have out of the, stadium, like whatever you want to call it, the more time that you're not in it playing the game and being her now is the longer you'll have to wait to become her. So it's just start now. It's not hard. All you need to do is tune into that frequency every day, whatever it takes. For me and for the people that I work with, it's activations, it's journaling, it's reminding yourself in everyday moments that you can be her now. It's putting post it notes saying be her now on your computer, on the back of your phone, reminders on your phone, tuning into it, listening to a song, listening to an audio that gets you in that mode, being consistent. And then soon enough, you're just going to become her. And you don't even need to do it as consistently anymore.
And one thing I want to add to that, Mimi, like so many good reminders there. I just had this thought. I went to the beach before we got on the mic and I was thinking about, I've been rehabbing my shoulder. I've been doing all this body work, trying to get myself in really good shape to be able to teach more body work to people,
Yeah.
right? And I kept thinking, gosh, I got to do this, this, and this, and this. And then my higher self came in and she was like, you're making it too hard. You're focusing on all the things you need to do to get there. Just become the energy of it now, like be the energy of it now, and then it's easy. So it's a reminder for all of you guys when you just
Mm.
tune or change your energy, it's actually easy. We like create a lot of busybody tasks in the human body, like Mimi says, matter to matter, and we make it too hard for ourselves. So it's a reminder for everyone that I was like, no, I can do this. And it can actually look really easy for me. If some people might do 150 things in the morning to get them to this state, whereas Mimi and I might do a 3 to 5 minute practice and boom, we're there. We're in that future self energy. So just a reminder for you guys that it doesn't have to be these monumentous leaping over a mountain. It actually can be easy and it can be fun and enjoyable and pleasurable. And I really feel like Mimi and I are so aligned on that, keeping it a feminine essence. Like this is easy, it's fluid, we're flowing. And Mimi, I have one activation that I love. It's like an energizing and positive, I think, activation. And it makes me like I'm prancing around, walking outdoors. So I wanted to share, can I give them like a playlist or a link? Could you whip something together for my dancing
We
unicorns?
can do that my team told me we're now able to do. Well, first and foremost, I'm so happy to give you guys the biggest discount we offer. We can't do discounts on the App Store because Apple doesn't let us. So by the time this episode is out, we'll have this website page set up, activations.com/AG. And on there, you can get the biggest discount we've ever offered. Number one. Number two, we can do a 14-day free trial. And number 3, we could do a secret playlist. Once people sign up through your link, we
Okay.
can send them like your master playlist of all the most incredible life-changing activations. So no
Perfect.
one else will have access except if you sign up through that link.
I love a secret playlist. Okay, yes.
Even if everyone listening, if they haven't tried activations, like just take advantage of the 14-day free trial. We wanted a very long free trial because we just want to show you how it feels to do this type of stuff consistently. So just take advantage of the free trial and see how it makes you feel. I honestly deeply believe like this is the most simplified way to achieve the be her now philosophy of being her in everyday moments is by listening to these habit stacking motivational visualization based audios that are mixed with this like cinematic movie moment music. We have some of the best composers in the world that create movie and TV show scores that create the most cinematic, like genuinely state changing pieces of music. And we add those in on top of the guided visualization. It's like, it makes me feel like a rock star.
It
So
does.
very excited.
I was gonna say that's another one that I do. I'll go, like, walk on the treadmill at an incline, and I have a neighborhood gym where it's just me alone in there, and I will strut
Yeah.
to an activation. I've got my chest, my posture's good, like, I am the main character walking in my
Yeah.
own movie. That is my life. So
Yes.
and I also feel like it's nice too when sometimes I don't wanna listen to music, but I don't wanna listen to a podcast,
Yeah.
and I just wanna listen to something positive,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's where you're the perfect intersection of all of the things. So, thank you, Mimi, for sharing a really great discount with my fellow dancing unicorns. I'm gonna put everything in the show notes, you guys, and we'll also share it to social media. I'll make sure everyone gets all the information. And Mimi, just thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your beautiful
Say
wisdom with us.
beautiful. Oh, thank you, AG. I love chatting with you. And I'm, yeah, just so excited for you with what you're doing. I'm feeling such good energy about, everything that we're both up to at the moment. And we're just committing to the work and we're doing what we can. And it feels good to feel good. I think that's the last thing I'll say is
Yeah.
like, it feels good to feel good. So, goals aside and creating the most successful life possible aside, we want to enjoy the lives we have while we're in transit towards achieving what we want, right? There's no reason to punish ourselves on the way to getting there and then finally feeling happy when it happens. Because, first of all, it won't happen if you do that. And second of all, it's so much more enjoyable just to feel like you are her now. You are already her because you are. Your future self is the deepest, most true parts of you that you're just uncovering.
So good. Okay, thank you, Mimi. I love you. I adore you. I'm so grateful for your friendship. And I think that's it. Thanks, guys, for coming to class. I love you all.
Bye.